Welcome to this week's episode of the Foresting Tomorrow podcast. And to be honest, I lost track. In my notes, it says episode 4.
No, this is 3. It's because the first one is
it's
a goner.
Yeah, I need to update my notes. So anyway, welcome to episode number 3. Together with me is Rasmus Pedersen, the CTO champ of Forsler.com.
The doctor and CTO.
Yeah. Nice. And the assistant, Isbak, which is me.
So you are.
That's the team.
Yeah, and you're the CEO.
I'm and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
I want to kickstart this week's episode with a news that is extremely dear to my heart, and you don't know what it is because I haven't said anything, but it's actually a news that made me pretty excited.
Okay, and now I'm excited.
Yeah, that's the reason why I have this shirt on.
Oh, really?
Yes, exactly.
So it's something with textiles.
No.
Okay. Okay. It's something Danish then.
Good guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so the big news is that the world champs in cycling is upon us.
Yeah.
And in Denmark we have a champ from 2019 called Mads Pedersen.
Yeah.
Mads Pedersen.
Nice last name there.
Yeah, exactly. And world champs is upon us. It's actually this week, and the big men's race is on Sunday. And the reason why this is interesting in terms of this podcast is that Little Trek, the team that he's riding for, uses Pirelli tires for the bikes.
Yeah,
and,
I know that name.
And the news is that Pirelli just launched the first FSC-certified racing tire.
Okay.
Based on natural rubber.
Oh, from like rubber trees?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So last year, world champs, they didn't have any traction, Little Trek. At least that was what they said afterwards. It was also quite a wet day and quite slippery.
Okay.
This Olympics just held a month ago was not good either. They punctured quite a bit. Little Trek. We also have another Danish rider on that team. But hopefully this tire is better. So yeah, we need to cheer for the Danes. But it is true. They just launched a FSC-certified racing tire for bike or cycling. And I don't know if you know what natural rubber is.
I just know that it's something called a rubber tree, so my guess would be that it comes from that, but I don't know exactly what distinguishes natural rubber from non-natural rubber.
So the other one is based on oil.
Okay. Yeah.
So the good thing about natural rubber is, of course, it's a renewable material. And it's actually used in a lot of products like gloves, sneakers, footballs, yoga mats, balloons, and of course also tires.
So the reason why oil has been used most is price, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess also accessibility.
Yeah, accessibility.
But it actually is I think it's like a field that is booming a bit.
Yeah, it also makes sense, given the transition to more sustainable future. It makes sense to see if we could use something else than oil, like in every other sector.
Exactly. But using natural rubber in tires is actually a 3-year-old sort of news.
Okay.
Pirelli launched a collaboration with BMW Group in 21, where they actually launched the first SFC certified tires for cars.
Okay.
So
all BMWs now have.
I don't know.
Okay.
but at least, yeah.
I wonder if all the electrical cars uses them. That would, make sense.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
To also be on the forefront on tires.
Exactly. So let's pray for the cycling guards that it will be Mads Pedersen who wins the world champs
and for the tires made of tree.
Yeah,
because
for Earth in general.
Yeah, but if they fail again, what?
Yeah, okay. I have to look into if they're actually racing this tire. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
But
well, nice. It's always great when we can blend in some Danes and some sports.
Yeah.
I also had last time I quizzed you in the largest and the smallest.
Yeah, I haven't slept since.
No, I know, because we also left everyone else hanging.
Yeah,
probably mostly ourselves. Someone out there might know it, but the question was, what is a definition of a tree then? So we of course had to look into that, and given that I don't know it at all, I here on Wikipedia I can read it out loud here. In botany, a tree is a perennial plant with an elongated stem or trunk, usually supporting branches and leaves. So first of all, perennial plant, I'm already lost. So I don't even know what that meant.
No, help us out.
I had to, of course, read up on that. So that means, I'll read this again, but that's another word I don't understand. But in horticulture,
so will this be a hunt of words you don't understand?
No, I'll get back. I'll get back.
Okay.
In horticulture, the term is used to differentiate a plant from shorter-lived annuals and biennials. It means it has thus been defined as a plant that lives more than 2 years.
Okay.
So that's perennial. So a tree has to at least live more than 2 years.
Okay.
But then I read on it, and on Wikipedia, the actual definition states, although tree is a common word, there is no universal recognized precise definition of what a tree is. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how they can say that.
What the smallest tree is.
Yeah.
Hopefully
it lives more than 2 years at least. And it also states here that...
have to do that.
And they are typically between... plants that are from 0.5 to 10 meters or above.
Yeah.
And that's because everything else would be called shrubs below that. And then there is a lot of other things you can dig into, because something like a banana tree, some definitions is a tree.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, because some of the definitions of tree is this, that a tree grows outwards over the years in these rings, which a banana tree and these don't. They grow upwards always. So that they won't be in the definition of trees.
As a tree.
Yeah. But given that there's no real definition, you have to look at the Oxford English Dictionary. That must be the truth. That's the Bible of it, right? So
what does it say?
A perennial plant having a self-supporting woody main stem or trunk, which usually develops woody branches at some distance from the ground and growing to a considerable height and size. Usually distinguished from a bush or shrub by size and manner of growth.
That's just like a... If I were to describe it for my daughter, I would do it like that.
But there are nothing precise in this.
Okay.
So it actually, I think, stands to maybe that what I stated last time was the smallest tree. I'm not sure it actually is the smallest tree. I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
Okay, so welcome to the podcast. It's on technology in forestry.
Yeah, and definitions apparently on trees.
Yeah, okay.
But I have a little small quiz again for you.
You're like the quiz master.
Yeah, and that's because the last time we talked about these largest trees, and we came into this General Sherman and how old it was.
Yeah, and if I remember, was that like close to 3,000 years?
Yeah, it was from dated or estimated to be around 700 to 300 before Christ. So almost 2,500 years. But the interesting thing, of course, is this is a rabbit hole, right? But then what are the oldest trees? And then I found a list of that, of course.
Okay.
So you'll
species-wise or just observations?
Individual trees.
Okay.
So, and there are 2 categories.
Do you also have it on species?
No,
No.
I can find that for another.
Next.
Because there are trees with verified age, which
Yeah.
means that you will have to somehow date them probably by felling them. And
Is that the only way how to sort of date a tree? Do you
I
know
haven't
that?
looked into it. I guess that I'm not sure, but shouldn't you be able to some carbon date it somehow by taking out some materials
maybe,
of it?
maybe.
I would believe you could do that, but I'm not sure. But maybe someone else knows. It's just because...
Yeah, please help us out.
Yeah, but it wouldn't make sense to have 2 lists if you could easily date it without felling it.
No.
So, how old do you think the oldest verified is?
Let's say... So, the General Sherman is probably... maybe not normal, but maybe it's not that strange in age. So I'll say... My guess would be 4,000.
It's close, actually.
Oh,
Yeah. It's the oldest verified is 4,900 plus. So the plus is it's not really verified, I guess. And that is a Great Basin Bristol cone pine,
what's up with those?
which called Prometheus.
Okay,
Do you know who Prometheus was?
no. Why do I?
It's some Greek god, I think, who raised to the sun or something like that.
Ah.
Yeah, and it is actually the oldest known non-clonal organism.
Okay.
Whoa, I don't know
What
what
does
that
that mean?
I don't know. I won't dig into more definitions.
Okay, so it was cut down in, what did it say, 1964?
Yeah. By Donald Ross Curry. You even have the name of the guy who did it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Shame on you. Why was it cut
And
down?
that I don't know either.
Go for woods. For
Probably, but some of them. Let's get into it. And then you have the trees close to that age as well. Some in the two
So
of these.
United States is quite.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes,
the
it
go-to place for old trees.
Yeah, because they cut them all down, I guess. No.
Dead,
Some of them
dead,
also died.
dead.
There's a giant sequoia here, which
Yeah.
is what General Sherman is.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of these on the list.
Okay.
But now you can look at my screen because now we are digging into the non-verified.
Ah.
Because that's also interesting. Because trees with estimated age, what do you think the oldest is?
I would say above 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
Is it correct?
Yeah.
So should I say a number?
Yeah, try.
Okay, so I'll say 7,000.
It's 9,566 years old.
More or less.
More or less. I don't know. That number is more precise than the verified number, which is a bit funny.
But when you
Yeah.
estimate stuff, you can just...
And now you can guess the species because this might...
Oak?
No. It's a very common one.
In
Denmark.
Denmark?
Yeah.
Beech?
No, it's actually the most common one. It's called something else in English than in Danish, but...
Yes, Norway...
yeah, Norway sprouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's in Sweden.
Okay.
And it's all called All Chico.
Holy...
And it just a picture, it doesn't look old, you know.
It looks old.
Yeah,
It looks like an old lady.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could say that it might have been bigger, now it's shrinking or something, but... Yeah, okay, it's...
This one will become the smallest tree in the world.
Yeah, and actually,
Eventually.
it states here the age of the tree was determined by carbon dating.
Ah, so there you have your answer.
Yeah. And it's in Sweden, our neighborhood country. So
Let's go visit it. How far up is it?
it's there.
It's there.
Yeah,
I can see that.
it's
So there's Oslo.
Yeah, it's on the border to Norway.
So if we take the ferry to Oslo, it's probably 3 hours drive.
Yeah, 3-4 hours
Tops.
drive. Yeah.
Okay.
So now you know a bit about the oldest trees, and here there's a greater diversity of the trees because you then have something called the sisters in Lebanon, which are 6,000 years old, which are olive trees, And then you have something that's almost 6,000 years in Chile, which is a Patagonian cypress, and you have another one in the United States, which is also Great Bristol pine, which is dated older than the oldest verified.
Yeah.
And so on. And I was actually I think I've heard that the oldest tree once was maybe that's the oldest olive tree. I don't know. But in Greece, I've visited one in Greece. Yeah, in Crete, I think this one. Between 2,000 and 5,000 years old.
Okay. It's oak on the list in some form?
No.
Okay.
No oak.
Oh, Denmark.
Well,
yes, please. That's on Zealand.
Kongen.
It is oak.
That's an oak, you're right.
Okay, how old is that?
Between 1,500 and 2,000 years.
And how is that verified? Is that like the reference?
Check. No. Esprit Norskov.
Yeah, I've been there.
The tree rings. What? A scientific investigation in 1965 of the tree's rings indicated that the tree has estimated age. How do they know the tree rings if they haven't cut it?
Maybe they cut a hole.
It may well be the oldest living oak in Northern Europe.
Again, Denmark.
But okay, let's get away from the old trees because I think that's like a 25th place or something like that. Yeah. So that was the quiz.
Okay. Well, now you haven't said it, but well done to me, I think.
Well, yeah. You know your old stuff.
Yeah. I know my old
We
stuff.
should have like a prize for you.
Mm-hmm. Like a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So I actually have one more news before we get into the big stuff.
Yeah.
So do you remember in the first episode, which has never been on air, I talked about this lignin for batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is some news from our Swedish friends in Södra.
Mm.
So Södra confirms Stora Enso among the first customers for Kraft linen. This follows the major investment announcement earlier this year regarding Kraft linen production at Södra's Mönsterås site. The plant will be the first commercial Kraft linen production facility in Sweden and the largest of its type in the world. It expects to be in operation in 2027. So, which we also talked about last time. So, Stora Enso has developed lignin expertise and know-how over the past decade to run its own pilot plant. That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
For battery material.
Yeah.
So, Stora Enso has a strong belief in lignin and its own, and is now in the need of an external source of raw materials. So, I guess Södra is a good match.
Probably.
Yeah. Market demand for sustainable materials and solutions is driving fast in the lignin application. So again, like natural rubber. Good. So a potential key application in Stora Enso's lignode technology, which can replace fossil-based anode materials in both lithium-ion and sodium-ion batteries. Those being an important component in sustainable electrical manufacturing and also in multiple energy storage application. So
nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I guess I'm not that that much into battery technology, but you know we all seen these videos from the cobalt mines in Africa and so on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this kind of replaces some of that, which would of course be nice. But it would be nice to see how does this impact or affect how we create batteries worldwide, and also, as you know, the distribution of the raw materials for batteries are not necessarily fairly distributed between countries. So it'd be nice if every country could make their own, which we probably also discussed last time.
I really hope that this will gain traction, because I think it's really nice that we could start, replacing these these materials from
yeah, we kind of already
in different ways.
Yeah, we're already on this transition towards electrical transportation, not only cars but also trains and so on. So even also flights, planes is a really hard problem. But let's get into that in another, because of the battery technology, of the weight of it. But it's also nice to see that the things that actually drive the electrical transportation would also be created of renewable source. So, but I think maybe I could look a bit into that for the next episode, because I know in Denmark we have a lot of development in biofuels for planes.
Yeah.
So that would I would like to look into how are those made, and it's at Aalborg University. They have a big group working on that. Which
do they?
Which they believe in the energy department. They believe to kind of revolutionize transportation by airplanes, because that is a big.
If someone working at a university doesn't believe that they revolutionize something, then
I don't think I ever did when working there, but I kind of knew I wouldn't, so that's probably why I'm out.
Yeah, also out. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, but let's get into the big news. So we have decided for episode 3, because we sort of concluded last time that robotics in forestry is maybe 20 minutes is too little for that topic.
Yeah.
So what we'll do moving forward is that we'll sort of maybe create a theme. So right now it's robotics in forestry.
Yeah.
And more in particular to harvesting.
Yeah.
We'll sort of use that as a theme throughout some episodes, and then try to dig into interesting news and topics and what else we can find. And then at some point in time we'll shift towards a new theme.
Yeah.
So for this episode we'll go down that path. Let me see. So last time I was talking about these remote control forest machines. I actually had a hard time afterwards finding the material that I know I've seen at some point in time. Apparently it's not really that sort of hot of a topic.
That's really weird for me somehow.
Yeah, but I think maybe it's because autonomous.
It's probably stealing the
just around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I found this article here, which actually states that remote control forest machines isn't that new. Apparently, someone showcased something at Elmia in 05.
05?
Yeah. But it says for a couple of years, the Swedish Forestry Research Institute, Skogforsk, is working on a remote control forwarder. The purpose of the project is to create a more comfortable and safe working environment for the machine operators, with a less physically demanding work environment. Skogforsk hopes to gain higher productivity in the logging operation, of course to do. But that's also how I remember the news that I mentioned. That in order to reduce some of the I don't know. Of course, I'm not a machine operator, so I have no idea how it is to sit in one of these machines. But I would assume it's quite demanding, both in terms of long working hours because it's remote, and also the machinery is quite expensive, so you'll need all the productivity you can have.
Yeah. You don't want that to just stand still.
Exactly, and I think it also takes a certain human being
to do that,
to be that remote on your own and just let's say do the same day in and day out.
Yeah, that's much like truckers and stuff like that.
Truckers, yeah. And we also know this from Denmark. It's actually quite hard to find new people that go into forestry and want to sit in those machines.
And again back to the truckers. That's why we have a lot of foreign truckers in Denmark as well.
Yeah. So so this is more or less what it says. But the thing is that, of course, this article is a bit old and is only like 4 years old. But in technology terms, it's a bit old.
Yeah.
Because some of the limiting factors is actually the distance between the control room and the actual machine, in terms of the need for communication that runs through back and forth between the controller and then the machine itself. And then there's also a girl, I don't know, what is it? Linnea. Is that a girl?
I'm not sure.
It's a person.
Yeah.
So the person that has been interviewed also says that it's actually quite hard to control the machines because you don't feel the movements from the machine. I guess that it's like a sensory input that is quite important.
I've never tried one of the machines. So do you actually feel the movements in the handles when operating one, or is it because you can actually feel that the
I can't remember. There's a racing. Who was it?
Like a racing simulator?
No. It's from road racing. There was a guy, a racing driver, that says that you actually feel a lot of what's going on in the ass.
yeah. That was also because I don't think you have like a haptic feedback in the handles.
No.
Yeah, but it's because of
the movement in the machines itself.
Yeah.
And then they try to simulate this in levers that vibrate.
Yeah.
But the person says that it doesn't make it any better.
Okay, but I think there are two angles to this. One is productivity, I guess, safety and so on. I can see the idea with at least in probably in countries like Sweden where you have large remote areas of trees where you probably could drive for hours out there with the machine and then work. And this guy who operates it, if he lives like 4 hours in that direction, you have all the transportation time, and in all that time he is in transportation, the machine is standing still.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. You put the machine out there, you go home, and you sit and work that 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Then you don't have all the transportation time. There's of course some issues from just low practical. It will sometimes it needs gas. The machine.
Exactly.
If something goes wrong.
But even in Denmark, small little Denmark, the operators also sleep really close by, and then go out next day and then continue.
But how do it, like in a camping wagon or what, or in the car?
Motel or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to be close.
But yeah. So I can see that there could be some productivity gains, but I can also see the issues with not having some person out there in the field close to the machine whenever it fails, because that's the first thing of automation, it will fail. So you need to somehow be able to remedy that. And then for the technical things about it, the one thing is this haptic feedback, that you're missing that. And this is another anecdote, because when I was at the university, we did projects on surgery robots. We actually had one at Aalborg University, at Da Vinci. Crazy robot. It's so nice.
What did they do?
The surgical robot, they use it at the University Hospital in Aalborg. They use it for prostate cancer surgery, to remove that, because the large gain with doing these robotic surgeries is that you only need very small holes, which you can poke these arms into, and then you have a camera and some arms, and then you can do it all. You don't need to break up the entire person, which is it just decreases recovery time significantly. So it's much cheaper in the long run, even though these machines are extremely expensive. You can probably imagine, because they can't sell that many of them, and each operation costs a lot, because you can't use the instruments more than 10 times, because they need to go through a harsh cleaning and so on. But there you actually teleoperate the operation, right? You sit in a console and look into a camera and move these arms around. And there are no haptic feedback either, but you have this, every time you move your hand 1 centimeter, the robot hand only moves far less. So you have much more movement for
like a gearing.
Yeah, for very delicate operations.
Okay.
But to get back to this,
isn't that extremely hard to, or maybe you just adjust?
You adjust so quickly, you won't believe.
Okay.
It's but the hardware is also top notch.
I could imagine.
Top notch.
I could imagine.
But one of the projects we did on that was actually to look into teleoperation. Mm-hmm. So how do you perform this on a patient if you are somewhere else in another country? The idea of the entire surgery robot was that it was actually built for the Desert Storm back there as a research project.
Okay.
So we could send, instead of sending surgeons, because there are not that many surgeons, instead of sending surgeons into war zones, you send the robot, just a console, not the console, but the robot, and then you could have the surgeon sitting back in the US.
Yeah.
So as a proof of concept, they actually did a telesurgery where the patient, I believe it was in Portugal, the patient was, and the surgeon was in New York.
Okay.
A successful one.
Wow.
But you probably imagine, also coming from electronics, that the worst part is latency.
Yeah.
So if you make a movement and your eyes can't get that movement before you, in some time, then you begin to over movement, and you don't want that in surgery, right?
No.
Oh, that was the hard poke. So
actually, the opposite is better.
Yeah. So what they did that they rented, or how to call it, a dedicated fiber optic line running across the Atlantic Ocean, and that's really expensive. So like the operation cost millions. But it was just to prove that it could be done.
Yeah.
But that
how far back is that?
That is in the early zeros, I think, early 2000s.
Okay.
So at around this 2005, probably 2007 or something like that.
Okay.
We're way back then that it was actually done, because Desert Storm was in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And where they created the robot. So remote control or tele operations of robots is not new. It's actually old, but the thing is, this was a dedicated line, so they have very little latency and guaranteed little latency.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you have these machines out in the forest, you don't have probably, GPRS, or the mobile network isn't running out. So you need some dedicated. That would probably be a satellite communication.
Yeah.
But one of the conclusions from the entire research in this is that if you have latency above like 200 to 400 milliseconds, then you can't do it.
No, that's also quite a bit.
Yeah, and if you can get lower than 100, I think it's between 100 and 50 milliseconds, the operator can't process it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But you need to guarantee that, right? What if you have suddenly spikes in latency as the operator's out there?
Yeah.
Then he'll just slam everything in you. So there are a lot of technical challenges.
They cannot be on this Wi-Fi.
No. No. It's just that there are a lot of technical challenges. Even though you can make a proof of concept of this working once, I don't think they have made a telesurgery after that.
Yeah.
Because it's just not viable.
No.
Economically.
But this, I found another article that's sort of elaborating on this a bit more. They also talk a lot about the hopes in gain from 5G, because that was not available at the point in time.
No, but the 5G, like 4G and 3G, you still need the antennas there.
Yeah.
So you don't have, this is like a terrestrial communication system, so you still need antennas. Okay, the throughput is higher.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an antenna out in the forest, then...
But maybe you could create some kind of system. I don't know if you could do like a local... or extend the signal in some way.
Probably could, but that's just the whole idea with Starlink from SpaceX is to cover all those areas which can be covered by 5G with satellite, and that's because there are simply areas where it doesn't make sense to cover by 5G.
And the reach of 5G, do you know what that is?
No, I don't know, but it's not that far, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's you work with communication. You have this. If you want your communication to go far, you typically have a low throughput. I think these Internet of Things. There are different protocols they can communicate by.
Yeah, but
I think it's called LoRa. And then the LoRa you can communicate really far, but the bandwidth is really low.
Yeah. But IoT and what we're talking about is two completely different things.
Yeah. This was just
it's a good point.
Communications. So when you want to tailor operate something, the communication system is going to be vital.
Yeah.
So you need some way of having a good enough thing for it. So yeah.
Just keep talking. I'm
okay. You are.
No, just a second. I have to see if I can find it. Just really close.
But that actually also, if you just want to talk about full autonomy, you still need some kind of communication system for those autonomous agents to report into some system.
So it actually says just like 2 kilometers
for
5G.
Yeah, that would also be my guess. But that is also why you see a lot of antennas.
Mm-hmm.
If any one of you walk in the city or wherever, just
you
look at
walk in the woods.
Yeah.
Rasmus.
Yeah, okay. but then just look up at antennas that are about 30 meters in the air, typically on larger buildings, other antennas, or like, what's it called? A scorestein. I don't remember.
A chimney.
These larger chimneys that are in plants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There you'll see a lot of them.
I don't have any more else on robot. No, well, not robot, but remote controlled.
Okay. But but I think you are actually correct that probably why it doesn't get a lot of attention is there's this general shift in our community towards autonomy.
Yeah.
Which has only been boosted the last couple of years, caused by these large language models, which has nothing to do with operating.
Try to explain what a large language model is.
I
have an idea.
Actually, okay.
So we're already like 40 minutes in.
Okay.
Let's create a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
For next week, and then we'll continue down in autonomous. But let's just briefly get into it right now.
Yeah, I'm no expert in large language models, first of all, but a large language model is what is in ChatGPT, if anyone has tried it or heard of it. And what that does is that it is trained on a lot of text data.
Yeah.
And then the way it's tuned or trained and so on is that when you ask it something, it just guesses the next word out of the context of all the data it's been trained on. That's also why sometimes you'll hear that people say that we are so close to this AGI, which is called what's it called? Artificial General Intelligence, which is an intelligence that can actually think and reason, and none of these can reason, so you can just test it.
Yeah, but so of course, us with the background that we have, I guess to some extent understand what the artificial intelligence is and machine learning and all that kind of stuff. Maybe, because you're a bit wiser than I am, maybe you could just give a quick introduction to this topic and also try to sort of elaborate what the different terms means, what the difference are, and so on, and maybe in terms of what we do.
I can try. So people will hear artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on. And I remember this one great quote about the difference between the two, and that is machine learning is written in Python, and artificial intelligence is written in PowerPoint. So it's actually artificial intelligence is something that comes from science fiction,
and it goes way back.
Yeah, it goes way back.
Machine learning.
So the fundament, what's it called? The fundament. It's not the fundament. So like the basis of machine learning is called neural networks, and that is a scientific way of trying to model a human brain, or a brain, it's not necessarily a human brain, because our brains are built of neurons, and those neurons are coupled together, and in some magic sense that makes us intelligent beings.
Yep.
So why not try to copy that and try to put that into a computer, which makes sense, because computers are really good at doing the same thing over and over and over and doing it very fast.
Yeah.
So that started way back in the 70s or 50s or something like that. It's really old. Mm-hmm. But of course, when we got computing power, it became more and more interesting, because you could get somewhere with these neural networks, but a lot of the time you could actually, by using some engineering methods and engineering, knowledge, you could make much simpler models that could perform just as well.
Yeah.
But what came with all this computing power is now you have these neural networks where you have billions of neurons and links and layers and so on, and you can put this model into these large computers and you can feed them with all the data in the world. So you now have something that can do amazing stuff, because I think even though we also know something about it and come from a tech perspective, we were also a bit blown away of how good ChatGPT was.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, because
that first encounter.
Yeah, because we have also seen all the other tries to do this, and what typically happened was, because of the way the training works and the bias in these models, is that they could typically be put into doing something that's not really nice. For example, if you train a model on all the comments on Reddit, for example, you will typically have something that turns into a nasty AI. So you need to somehow, it's hard. But of course, with also before ChatGPT is something that has been worked on for 10 years before any of us saw it in OpenAI. And now it's full blown there, and it's evolving really fast. And it's not just ChatGPT. Meta, Facebook has models that are just as good. Google are trying just as much, and now Elon Musk, who helped start the what's called OpenAI, is starting his new in the X thing on it, and there are a lot of money going into this and a lot of research. So I don't know where it'll end, but I'm not that afraid of it, because.
Well, basically, you're not that afraid of anything.
No, not really.
You're by far the calmest of us two, I think.
I don't know if that says anything about me.
Nah.
But you're right. Yeah, but so you think that for the next one we should dig a bit more into it, because I know this is what we call in science, it's called hand waving, because I'm not saying anything that's really clever or anything.
I think at least some of the material that I prepared for this episode has to do with autonomous harvesting.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty nice machine in Sweden, and some of the articles talks about models, virtual and physical models, and digital twins and all that kind of stuff.
They're mentioning all the good words.
All the good words.
Okay, yeah. That's typically an indicator of something never being built. But let's get back to that.
Exactly.
But yeah, and also now we're talking about these large language models, which are for text-based stuff. But there are a lot of other machine learning algorithms for all kind of stuff. Especially there's a lot within vision, which makes sense, right? To model what you see and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, and artificial intelligence or machine learning will be one of the fundamental things of anything robotic.
Of course.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah.
It's there and you need it.
Yeah. And I also have an article for next week with what was it saying? The headline is "The World's First AI-Controlled Forest Machine."
I have to find that one. AI control, yeah.
Yeah. So
I also have an article I think we should go through, but mostly because it's actually a little robot with for housing or for finning, not necessarily housing, but for finning. And I read it, and I thought this is nice. We could talk about this. Let me just find it. Here it is. You can see this. This is really nice, and I read it through it, and
really nice.
Yeah, and then I read through it, and I was a bit, okay, what are they? They're optimizing power consumption, which is a bit weird, but okay, why not? But and then I got to the end and got to the realization it was actually not autonomous. It was,
remote control.
Remote control.
Okay, so back to remote control.
And they even stated it was remote control with an iPad from Apple in Palo Alto.
Okay.
They're really referencing, but but let's talk about that one.
Yeah. So next time, autonomous machines and non-autonomous machines, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
So I think that's it. Or do you want to say something? It looks like you.
No, and please help us if any of you have some material on autonomous machines, because it's actually not that easy to find something that is. You can find some research projects. There's a bit of from ETH in Zurich, which are very well known for autonomous stuff and robotics and drones. Go check their videos. I would recommend. They're really cool. So there's something out there, but there's not that much. So it'd be nice to have some leads.
Yeah.
I think that's it for
good
from the doctor.
Well done, doctor. Let's go out and cheer for Mads.
Let's do that.
Okay.
On the 3 tires.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.